right, guys. Let's start off with the big news. Is that Dynamos have?
You just call it news. Nothing big about that.
Yeah, but they've got a strikers coach.
The big news is the one that we'll discuss later. No, this was a big. What's big about that?
No, they've got a strikers coach because now they'll be
Dynamos. It's big.
Yeah, they'll be banging in the goals now.
What's big is Dynamos, not the news.
Even the news.
Okay.
It's anything that is associated with Dynamos is big.
Maybe
the fact that they've scored 2 goals in 10 matches.
Maybe I'm assuming wrong. Innocent, you can go ahead. Maybe I'm assuming wrong. But
yeah, you make conclusions.
I'll make conclusions thereafter.
Oh, all right.
Go
So Tekshua Chiyama is now the Dynamos strikers coach. All right. It's great news for Dynamos.
What's so great about that?
Because now they'll be scoring goals.
Already. So you think them having a strikers coach translate to them scoring goals?
Well, it's strategy, isn't it? They've put in the strategy.
Who is he going to be coaching to score goals?
I think
which strikers?
Guys, let me just barge in and separate you in your mini dogfight. And bring sense and be the voice of reason.
Oh, really? Don't overdo it.
No, I'm not.
You're overselling it.
No, I'm not overselling it.
Okay.
Here we go. I also believe that's where the challenge has been with Zimbabwean football in terms of firing coaches, hiring coaches, whatever the case may be. Doing the right thing about Zimbabwean football. It does not only translate to the local league, the PSL, but also national team. It's high time. Do you know how the number of backroom staff that you need to have for a properly run team? You can't have less than 30.
Okay.
All right.
And on average
in
Zimbabwe, how many?
On
average,
it should be around 15, not Zim.
They've got 7 or 6 because usually it's a head coach, assistant, goalkeepers coach, fitness trainer,
strikers coach.
No, they don't have all that.
So this is the first time.
So I think 5, 6 is the average.
And the kit manager.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to count them, technically I don't think they contribute anything, but yeah, surely. But getting it's okay. Right. But that's what I'm saying. This is where we are not doing right about our football, and I think Dynamos is on the right path if they're going to fill in the different areas. Nonetheless, I know they're trying to address a problem that they've identified currently with their team is scoring, and hence they've engaged and experienced, a striker, a former striker, a man I think who has done his papers, I think also in Europe as well, and coming back into the local game, trying to help the lads. Because even if you look at the strikers, why is it nowadays we don't get players that score 20 plus goals a season? It's not because chances are not being created.
They just don't know how to score.
They just don't know how to score. I've watched Caps. Caps is suffering. Caps United is suffering from that. And I think it's not about you see, you can complain. It's not about Caps United, not creating chances or not playing beautiful football or something. Caps United are just not scoring. It's not about the coach. Yes, the coach might have a bit of a challenge in directing, but he's done everything. He's getting them to create chances. You can't go in there and play. The soccer players themselves have to self-introspect and say, what do we need to do to score these goals? Yeah? Go to Sekuru and get your Muti to score. All right, and do it because you're not aiding the coach, because this is your role as a player. Because you're failing to score.
It's okay.
You are failing to score.
It's okay.
We look at these things and say, I'm also looking at Chicken Inn. All right, it's the same thing. It's not about. It's because they've got thin staff. All right. Yes, you might say compare them with MWOS, compare them with Scotland, compare with them with Simba Bhora, but let's look at the backroom staff. All right, and their contribution. We are taking football lightly. Football has become something very scientific and specific. So Dynamos are on the right path if they've engaged, like you say, they've engaged a strikers coach. And I would love to see somebody dealing with the defense or somebody dealing with the midfielders and so forth. So let's get an analyst as well. You need analysts I like Ngezi. I think Ngezi Platinum, they've got 2 analysts, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that analyzes.
Almost every team now has that.
Dynamos.
They do have.
Oh, Caps does.
They do have.
Islanders does.
They should. Islanders being Islanders, they should probably have. I'm not
you
saying.
See now,
Listen, I'm not saying this. The Islanders part. I'm not saying from.
You see, this is why I'm saying
they should have, because when
you know why I speak of Ngezi and say they are there. You see them from their technical, page when they provide you the lineups and everything, and everyone who's involved. It's there. You can see from the bench when they're sitting there.
Most actually have.
Yeah. So you look at those things and say,
explains a lot.
The standards. We need to be uniform to demand some of these things, and I think that's where the problem is. Particularly for Dynamos, it's a good move. It's great news.
What I think there's a point that the Bevan brought up is that
I'm saying
woozy coaching.
I'm saying yes, it's a good move in tandem with the contemporary football requirements, where you need to have these technical minds. No, can I finish? I was listening when you were talking.
Yeah.
Can I finish?
I'm just
yes. Let me talk. Here's the thing. He's not going to thrive in an environment where there is nothing to thrive with. The problem with Dynamo team is poorly run. That's public secret. Everybody knows that. But it's devoid of quality. If you think Dynamos now, and you also think at the same time word quality, the thing that comes to your mind with all due respect is Emmanuel Jalai. Remove Emmanuel Jalai, everybody can be average or slightly above average, not quality.
But
so
I can compare
let me
some
finish.
of those
Let me finish.
Dynamo's first 11 against any other team.
Let me finish.
Pound for pound.
Let me finish.
Oh, come on.
Let me finish.
I'll finish. When you look at Dynamos, no disrespect, there are a lot.
That's disrespect.
You call it what you may, but let me tell you, on a normal Dynamos year, not just none of the players, almost everyone now would not be a Dynamos. In a normal Dynamos year,
you including the technical team,
they won't be there.
Okay.
In a normal Dynamos year, no disrespect to anyone, I'm being frank, because we can look at the caliber of people that have been at Dynamos and compare with the people that are at Dynamos. You think in a normal, okay, let me not use names because I don't want to then sort of downplay these players. It's wrong. I'll stick to an umbrella setup. Most of the players, I will tell you one thing. I've got respect for the big four. They're closing shop. It's okay. They're doing that. Dynamos has been known for defense. It's in their DNA. It's in their culture. It's not shocking. It's like you're shocked that FC Platinum is playing a passing game. It's the DNA, right? But I'm saying the quality that you have at Dynamos now, you can bring Pep Guardiola. He's not going to make those guys score because they are never going to be scoring. In fact, it's a miracle on their part to be playing for that team.
I have to disagree. I've watched Dynamos 4 games.
Yeah. They have scored 1 goal.
10
games.
You're telling me that.
I listened when you were speaking. I listened. Listen. And you look at Dynamos, they are creating chances but missing them. It's the same with Caps United. It's not like it's a bad side. It's not.
But wait. If you're creating chances and not scoring, that's a sign of being bad.
No, not bad as in.
No, that's like me going to an exam and I can write, but I'm putting in the wrong answers.
No.
So when you say creating chances, can you just please maybe explain?
When you create and bury chances,
you are giving us.
I
want you to explain.
What am I doing? You're distracting my thoughts.
I want to know.
You are distracting my thought line.
Creating,
yes,
you mean it in the sense of
where was I going?
Okay, go ahead.
Where was I going? I'm in my brain.
Go ahead.
All right,
go ahead.
I mean, I'm saying when you're creating chances, yes. All right,
as Dynamos
are doing, as Caps United are doing, all right, you need strikers who know where to position themselves.
And they don't have that.
Yes, they don't have that. It's about the movement. All right, when we talk of a U-turn in football for strikers or a run inside the box or going to the blind side, it's the intelligence of the player. This is what you can add to a very good player, all right, as a coach. You understand? This is how you say with Frank Obiamang, I see your potential. This is what I'm seeing. I can see potential, but it hasn't been upgraded by knowledge for it to be what? To be the perfect finished product. This is what I'm saying.
So the knowledge is the new
coach
that's coming
when
in.
the coach comes in, take sure it knows how to be a fox.
Yeah, but
in the box.
Having said all of that,
so it's about the movement. It's about how you tell your strikers to move.
I love the confidence. I love the confidence. You know, Textual knows how to be the fox. Let me finish. You were just not allowing me to do what.
But you interjected me.
Okay, interject. I'm not going to.
One of you just
interject.
Yes,
I'm saying
he's a proven prolific striker.
Right.
Yeah, but
you don't need to doubt his record.
Never. I can't.
Never
Actually, the guy actually outscored Robert Lewandowski.
Thank you. So let's not argue on that one.
Yes, I'm not arguing on that.
That was my point. He's a fox.
Yeah, but
can you know?
I want to finish my point. The point
is,
is, it's one thing being a fox in the box yourself, and another imparting the knowledge to somebody else.
There's something that Michael Owen said, that there's some things that as a striker you can't
going
coach
to be told
where to stand, anticipation is not coached.
No.
So
technique is
you've
coached,
got to read the game yourself. But when I look at the guys at Dynamos right now, you know, he has given an example of Caps United. I'll give you an example. Go and study the games that Caps United have played. Look at what Wanimtuza does. Yes, he has been missing them, but check how he runs into the correct positions. What he does. And tell me who has been doing that at Dynamos. My point is
that can be coached. That can be coached now. It's the finishing that it's now the technique.
But
the anticipation and the reading of the game, you can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
So that's why I'm saying. That's why I'm saying what these strikers at Dynamos need is that kind of a coach.
They need new strikers at Dynamos. No. These guys.
I believe Frank Ogiman, for me, tell you what, the boy, he's on with a good coach, all right.
You're basing this on what?
On what I've watched. I've watched more games, Dynamos games, and I see potential.
But Val, he has not even scored a goal.
Bevan, when you see
this is game number 10. We're going to match day 11.
Yes.
And
but you're not talking of one
potential. Yes, he scored. He scored a brace.
Wait, what did you say?
Yes, I'm saying.
What did you say about him?
I said he's getting into the right positions and he's doing, and we have seen.
And what has been his problem?
What has been his problem?
Let me finish.
Answer my question.
He has been missing the chances.
He hasn't
been
doing the same. That's what I'm saying.
But at least one I think has got 3 goals.
One has got 3 goals. The other one, how are we comparing?
What are we comparing? Because the top goal scorer, save probably for Ndiraya.
We're talking about addressing an issue, not how Dynamos has failed to score. We are talking about addressing an issue.
What's the issue? Scoring goals. Exactly.
That's what responded. That's what we're addressing. That's what we're discussing.
And we are saying it's not enough. No, it's not enough to have a just.
But we are saying, what are we saying?
Strikers coach.
It's not.
They don't have the quality.
They need to have a striker.
A proper striker.
Let's come back after 10 games or 5 games.
After 10 games, my friend, that will be game week number 22.
It's okay.
21.
But what I'm saying, let's come back here after match day 5.
So you mean to tell me
taking over and see if there's no difference or impact of his addition?
The problem.
Why are we rubbishing this move by Dynamos?
We are not
rubbishing.
We are saying it's not enough. You need the strikers.
They will. That's part of the strategy. They're on the move to do that.
But that won't change.
Do you know what their plan is?
Do you
Are
know?
you brief?
Do you know?
I'm giving. I don't. That's why I'm saying. Let's wait. Let's give them a chance.
I don't know what their plans. Hence, I'm commenting on what's on the ground. They have brought a coach to coach these. The before they have not been scoring. The now is they have brought in a coach and they are not scoring. The after is with these same guys who are not scoring. You will not score because
now,
wait,
you guys, you're not spirit mediums to know. We
don't need.
You know,
we don't need to be sangomas. We don't need to be sangomas.
No one knows the future here.
Your affinity for the spirituality is strange.
He
said the Tigers go to
exactly.
Why not?
So that they score.
We believe in that. I believe Caps United needs that.
The next line he was like, we need football is now scientific, and we need. It's
Who says ATR is not scientific? Okay. Who says it?
Wow.
Is scientific?
Wow. Anyway, we're done with we're done.
Science,
we're running away. We're running away
from.
You have fed that. It is
No.
Because no one has ever wanted ATR to be proven.
No. Let's stick to football.
Let's stick to football. Let's move from blue to green, guys.
Exactly.
Let's move from blue to green. Right.
What?
Calm down, gentlemen.
Yes.
Caps United. I don't know. It's reshuffling. We call it reshuffling, isn't? They've moved their head coach to technical director. Brought in Ian Bakala as assistant coach.
Player.
Amazing. Now we're waiting for a head coach that is going to be announced on Thursday. It's okay. We're not gonna speculate, or we might speculate as to who will come. But does that change? It's basically the same question as Dynamos bringing in a striker at Caps United, having reshuffled this technical team. Valentine, I'll start with you.
When you bring somebody new, you've got a spring of different mentality, different feel, different style to impress. I've said Caps United was a bit of they were not lucky, or their players, or the front part. I think the missing link for Caps United for me is a striker for them. A potent one for that matter. I think that's where the challenge is with Caps United. Everything they're doing right, the basics, or besides the aging defense that they have. But I believe that everywhere else, every other area, they were okay. They were creating chances. They were just not bearing them. And I believe, I don't believe in an overhaul, of everything. I believe in additions. But also you have to understand, sometimes, you need to come with your own backroom staff and so forth, and so that you have rapport, you don't have, you don't have to learn each other again. The backbiting and so forth. But so now that they've decided to do this, I'm glad they've done it early. And I also am glad that LWEZIMBABWE is not totally divorced from the team, because I think he has done a lot for Caps United. So what is this continuity? I believe it's growth and allowing, sometimes you need a bit of luck. Football is about luck. Yes, you guys were talking, I did mention spirituality and science at the same time, but you need luck from somewhere, for you to be. And I think Caps United, we're missing that. Sometimes you'll be the one who is unlucky, or maybe you have reached a ceiling at some point of luck, that is. Because everything was going beautifully for Caps United in terms of, if you watch all the games and replay and try to analyze and see, so what's the problem? The problem hasn't been, I think the late movement for William Anondo problem and let down for LWEZIMBABWE, because I don't think he expected that, and he had built a team around him, and then he decided to move. All right. And if I were Caps United, I would, in as much as I've changed the technical side, for them to get more goals. All right. I'm saying more because they've been creating chances but not scoring them. And if they want more, they will also not want to rely on midfielders to chip in. Let midfielders chip in with goals and give the responsibility to the strikers. And right now at Caps United, there's no potent striker like that. I would have gone and raided Evans Rusike from Yada as advice for Caps United, or get another potent striker, somebody renowned, who can bang in those goals, odd 12, 13 goal player, who can potentially get that. They'll be back on the track, and they'll be a good side. Yeah. And so I'm not one for an overhaul of things. I'm the one that's why I'm supporting what Dynamos has done in terms of addition. Address specific issues. What is the problem? And you address specific issues, and Dynamos have done that. They've addressed a specific issue, which is scoring.
Bevan, a different question for you. Of course, you'd want to respond to that, but a different question when you get around to it. Is this a strategy by maybe Farai Jere and his team to take LWEZIMBABWE from the firing line and put him somewhere else where he can be influential without the pressures of the fans and all of that?
You want an honest opinion?
Honest opinion.
I don't think that's the strategy.
You want to lie to us?
No, I'm not lying. I can be here and maybe present, but I'll be frank with you. In my view, this is a transitional move. We're actually going to see a change, as in he's probably on his way out. So that's the exit corridor.
There's the exit corridor. So what does this transition mean for Caps United?
Look, there comes a time in any institution where you have to introspect and look at where you're going and what is happening, your goals and objectives. The person can be good. The person can be the right. Like, for example, what LWEZIMBABWE represents, what LWEZIMBABWE is. Put aside what has been happening now. Looking at it from a legacy issue, from in the history, you realize that a point will come, even though you accept and respect what has been happening. But every journey begins somewhere and has to end somewhere at some point. So the nature of his job anyway, for me, is you're supposed to be moving around. Yes, you can be sentimental and be stuck at one place, but I think imagine, for example, if he's to go to some other team. I don't want to mention certain teams because I mean you then cause problem. You'll be misquoted. But I'm saying if he's to go to some other team that has not won the Premiership, he goes there and he wins the Premiership. On his CV, it's a plus. That person will always be a Cape United person. Yes, by nature, I think as a player, he won the Premiership 3 times. He did not. No other coach ever did at Cape United in terms of their participation in the Champions League. So he remains a Cape United legend, a person who's that much green. So the transition had to happen at some point, and I don't think there was a better stage than this, because if it also does not give too much pressure to the coach that is coming in. Look, we are coming. He's coming in against a background of a very poor run. Then your duty predominantly is to stabilize the ship. If better results come and you end up challenging, it's also a plus on his CV.
I would have preferred a situation when they would have added instead of overhauling.
You still think that LWEZIMBABWE was the right person for Caps United?
I still believe so. I still believe so. Looking at how Caps United has been playing, it's not about, yes, the goals haven't been coming, but the opportunities and the chances to score and win games has been there.
But that's what.
What I could have easily looked at. I would have looked at the psychology of the players. The addition. Get the players, get them a psychologist to work with them, and have an addition maybe for the strikers as well.
Is this mentally or it's
I believe
I'll put
it's
it
part of the game.
Yeah.
I'll put it this way: you may be, or you might have been the right person, and you probably is the right person, but the environment is not the right environment
for him.
For him now, he cannot be at Cape United now.
Is this from the supporter's perspective or from him not being the right person right now?
It could be from both.
I'm trying to ascertain from what angle you are bringing him not being the right person.
Him not being the right person is premised on the prevailing circumstances now. The environment has become a bit toxic. Because, look, football has 3 results. There's a victory, there's a draw, and there's a loss. So right now, what is expected of him now in every game is become a victory. You get it? They want a win. So any stumble, any bad result against a backdrop of a number of bad results, it's toxic. This is a person, a human being first, a family man. He's got he represents his family, wife and kids. You get it? So week in, week out, you're being abused. Maybe by you go
and it doesn't really matter how strong you are.
Exactly.
Character is pretty strong, but
at some point you break because you are human. So at the end of the day, when we go out there, we represent our families. We carry the names. Our children go out there. You get it. Yeah. So at some point, you want to look at not just maybe what you're deriving, the benefits you're deriving from where you are. You want to look at the larger, perspective to say, is this good for me? Because you're no longer representing yourself only. There is your wife. There is your children.
So from a personal level, this is probably the best decision for Lloyd Chitembu.
Yeah, I think.
Although his heart is with Caps United,
it will always be.
And will always be with Caps United. But this is probably the right decision for him. But having said all of that, gentlemen, who can fit in that position if we're going to look at the current coaches that are available, or some that are not available? Who could fit in there and change the fortunes of Caps United?
I wouldn't necessarily pick on anyone to fit in, but anyone can come in and
if you say anyone, then I'm right.
I disagree with anyone.
Can I just finish? Yeah. You'll come and disagree after I've set out my points. I believe with the Caps United that is currently available, even Valentine being a new gaffer at Caps United, I think I would win games with how I've watched them.
Yeah, with the new coach Bounce.
Yeah, with the new coach Bounce, the new coach Luck. This is what I'm emphasizing on.
But how long will that last you?
I don't think Caps United will suffer a lot with this change. I think it will just work in a positive way. Because I believe, like I said, sometimes you reach your ceiling in terms of your luck, in terms of, how you get results. Sometimes I think Lloyd Chitembu had gotten to that. Where maybe he's at the ceiling of his luck and everything in between. But you could tell his intelligence in football and how he wants to play and how they were playing. But it was just one area, which was problematic, which is the most important area, which is when you score, you get results and you win games. All right? So that's where I say, right now, yes, we can get a coach from MaBlanyo and experiment with him. You will do well at Caps United.
Interesting choice of place. Yes, you're about to say something.
I would differ a bit. There are a few coaches that can be attached to Caps, Dynamos, and Highlanders. It's not everybody. Sheer magnitude of the clubs will tell you that it's a Herculean task, and it needs somebody who ticks a lot of boxes.
The chief among them winning the Premier League.
You get it. One of the targets season in, season out at Caps United is we have to win the league. It's unlike, not disrespect, but it's unlike what you have obtaining at Yard. You can be there to win games and maintain the status. The same thing probably at Kwekwe United, Bikita Minerals and so on. But when you are at Dynamos, Islanders, Caps United,
it's winning the league.
Part of the contractual agreements or part of the discussions leading to contractual signings, whatever, include maybe giving each other a period to say by such and such a period we should have won the Premiership. We want to win the Premiership. So the fans demand the Premiership. So if you look at the guys that are there right now, the names that would come to mind, it would be Norman Mapeza.
But that's out of the question, though. He's not living.
No, he's not.
Well, stranger things have happened in football.
Yeah.
There is Chiragwi. There is Ndiraya.
But Ndiraya would leave Scotland.
I've said stranger things have happened in football, and there is also Kevin Kind. I've deliberately omitted some coaches. Why? Because they still need to be proven at some point. You look at Taure Mangiri was once at Cape United, and being one of the gaffers that I respect so much, I love his style of play. But at some point, pressure became too much for him because we all know what can happen in these big clubs. Yeah, you get it. And he didn't have the tenacity to withstand the heat. And I remember if you go check your log standings for the 4 seasons that Calista Pessoa was winning, I think 2 or 3 of those there was Taure Mangwiro at Caps, if I'm not mistaken, but it should be 2. Look at the number of points that Caps United were behind, from the log leaders, Dynamos. So you realize these are big teams. You are expected to deliver, and he failed to withstand the heat at some point because the players. I remember 1 year it got so bad that the players could, some would they had industrial actions. and it would cost them.
You
need somebody who can stay.
You know what would be very interesting is having either Nome Mapeza at Caps United or Ndiraya at Caps United.
Even
that would be Ndiraya specifically at Caps United. That would be fun.
Why? How?
Harare Derby and then Ndiraya coaches Caps United to a win against Dynamos. That would be something else. I
know the fascination is around getting these so-called proven coaches and that have delivered before. But let it not go the same way Manchester United have gone, as a case and example in this conversation, to say they went for the big names and they failed to deliver.
They didn't start with the big names.
Yeah,
they started off with
the poor name.
No, that was like the way it was somebody protecting their legacy.
Let's not go into that.
Yeah, exactly. Local football. What I'm saying is there are many young, good, well-educated coaches that need opportunities.
He's young,
yeah,
educated, and needs an opportunity.
Yeah.
So, but I don't get how he would leave. I know you said
Caps United is home.
No.
For him,
good and fine, gentlemen. I understand.
I actually think that's his dream job.
I didn't expect him to stay after winning
the previous season.
This past season when he won the league, I didn't expect him to stay because of the toxicities that were happening at Ngezi. In terms of the politics that was there. I don't think it was welcome there. Particularly, there's one individual at Ngezi that they love. No names. I'm not going to throw in a name. That they love so much.
I know him.
We've got lawyers.
Who I believe is the most toxic person in football at Ngezi right now. And no coach will succeed unless he's in good books with that.
He or she.
All right. Is in good books with that person. So you look at that and say, this is where that's why I'm saying I didn't expect him to stay, because you have to understand that Chiragwi had excursions with the national team. Somebody was not too happy
with that.
But you look at the value and the type of play that he has brought and what he has learned from Michael Ness. You can tell with how he's setting up his team. He's a student of the game who's learning very fast. And I think if Caps United can plug him out, I think he's one of the most vulnerable and potentially somebody they can plug out if what Bevan is saying, that looking at who's available and not available, who's not available but they can go for. Caps United is a big club, so they can go for that person and pay out whatever obligations, release clause that he has potentially, if at all he's got one.
Never heard of it in Zimbabwe, but okay.
Yeah, but we're just
actually, I think those are being drawn overnight. The moment the Caps United job was declared vacant, those were being crafted. Because I will tell you,
because you live.
Save maybe now.
I won't be surprised.
Save for Ndiraya.
Yeah,
I can say flat out.
But now with Ndiraya as well, with how he's also not so welcome, in that space.
Yeah.
Could
be another candidate.
A good contract comes along. I'll take it.
Sorry, you're saying?
I will take it.
You live in Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland.
No, I will endure.
No? For the money.
Toxic. What toxic? When I get headache,
I get aspirin.
It's okay.
Gentlemen, were you not the ones? Come on. Let's be consistent with our statements. Were you not the ones who were talking about Lois Tembe in a toxic environment?
Yeah,
now you say what?
No. That one is a different toxic.
I'll tell you
toxic. It's okay.
I'll tell you what.
The toxicity is there for you now.
The Chitembe toxins. I mean, they are life-threatening. You know how they grade. I think it's green, red, and purple. Purple being deadly dangerous. And that green we can just administer milk.
It's okay.
Ndiraya is on green.
Yeah, it's green.
Textual Chiragwi is on
lots of.
I
It's
don't
on
know.
purple.
I have no idea.
I'm telling you. I'm confirming for you.
These are your comments.
Yours, we have
I'm
no
telling
idea.
you. He's on
City
purple.
football does not own these comments.
Can we post this early, and we find out from people if they agree with me? I'm saying the easiest target, or the person that Captain Ali needs to go for. If I'm here, if we were to read into the press conference that the president FJ had, Farai had with for the media, and to announce this plan to change the technical staff at Caps United, and he says what a former player, isn't it, and a championship winning.
Well, that's loaded.
So for me, there are many available who have done that, who are Caps United sons. Come on, go for Texture. For me, I'll be happy for him. Because I believe Ngezi hasn't been able to deal with that individual. That's why coaches go there and fail.
You know what, guys? If we manage to get this right, we're doing predictions every week. Who needs Sangomas when the three of us are here?
We still need our Sangoma. That's why people are not scoring goals.
I can bring the...
You go back to but also go inside. They're not going...
So goals are coming from the spirit realm.
Baba.
Mose, on top of the log.
That's a serious team.
They are on top of the log.
I'll tell you why they are a serious team.
We spoke about predictions. We'll come back when it finishes.
I was in Blair over the weekend covering the MWOS game. The guys are so professional. Give it to them. We've got our pre-match, sequence and everything. So you request things from teams. Man, those guys, they're so professional. I simply went and requested, can I have the team sheet for the team? Then the guy presents the team sheet. And I'm saying, okay, there are no positions on the team sheet and stuff. The guy took his time. Can we find somewhere to sit? I unfortunately I didn't get his name, but the guy who does their media thing. Then he explained everything, formation and everything. I was like, wow, I have not encountered such professionalism.
It made our job as commentators
very easy.
It makes it
very easy.
I wish that clubs would understand the benefits of
That's what they think.
So what happens with the timeline? You're going to go sprinkle what?
I don't know. Because one thing that clubs don't understand is this is your marketing gimmick. This is what gets the fans excited. You give us your lineup 2 hours or an hour before kickoff, and then we start posting it. The English Premier Soccer League allows that and does that. It builds excitement. It brings...
How are we going to play? How's the other team
they're going to be looking forward to certain things.
Plus, what do you think will change?
With social media now, people start commenting.
Yeah, why didn't you put this one there? They're using this formation.
Get the fans involved. Get the fans excited. Hype. You're creating the hype.
Even if I wasn't going to Rufaro Stadium, I'm getting into my car now and I'm going there.
And then when we post these things or when we mention them as broadcasters and media people, when we do that, we have these talking points. We have, the analysis, the thought process. Okay, what is the coach thinking? I remember we were analyzing Mafero's starting 11. We were like, what is he thinking here? And for real, we got to point on that this formation, this team that is set up to start is not the best. We couldn't understand the logic. Then when he changed in the second half, they dominated MWOS. So you have those kind of things. And you say I wish to all the 16 Premier Soccer League teams. Come on. Asilo yitina.
Yeah.
Learn something from
That's what you say.
But we can't leave that topic without me saying the goal that they scored. Man, it was quite something. And I thought they were just riding on their luck in the early games and stuff. But I'll tell people, if they are not serious to win that thing, because it's stable. Here's the thing. I know usually people expect that Samite at some point, will break down. But here's the thing. He doesn't have that much of a pressure at this club. He is believed. And the things that we have now, yes, he has been with the project. It's the DNA is Samaita. Yeah. You get it. So, and now this is a financially very stable team. I think.
And this is Samaita.
If MWOS win the league this season, then Arsenal are winning the league next season.
Yeah, well, if they get a striker, they might just win the league.
I'm telling you.
They get a striker, they're winning the league.
They're choking.
They are winning the league.
I saw how maybe it was my first game watching them.
Yeah.
I wasn't really impressed with the depth, that they have in terms of zecting and controlling games. That was a poor chicken inside that they needed to be ruthless about. But they were hanging.
Yeah, but sometimes
they were hanging on a thread.
Yeah, but sometimes imagine if that penalty for you.
Imagine if that penalty shout was given. Imagine any other referee who's not as good as Kwanele, who would have given that penalty. That would have been a draw.
No,
yeah, but a draw.
Listen,
innocent. A draw away to Chicken in.
Not
a bad result.
It's not a bad thing.
Because
ideally,
when you want to win the league.
Ideally, when you want to win the league, don't lose at home. Go and draw out there. When you win, it's a bonus.
Of which they show that
they're not
in the
doing
northern
that.
region, right?
Exactly.
I'm
saying what I saw.
We'll talk about this in December.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not flat out saying they're winning, but I'm saying what I saw, they have the potential of doing it, because sometimes it gets to to self-belief. If the players then begin to believe that, no guys, we can actually win this thing.
What I'm suggesting for you,
because the thing is, we have not encountered, probably you did, any team that is out of this world. So far, there is no team. I mean, FC Platinum, slow starters, a lot of draws. Scotland is tumbling here and there, trying
Simba Bhora
up and down. What called?
Guys, these are teams that are only 3 points away.
All right, wait, guys. Let's talk about a team that is going to win the league now. Scotland FC.
What do you mean?
It's going to win the league.
No, I know he's watching, but you can't then
No, Scotland. No, listen, guys. The thing that you don't understand, you guys, is that over the last couple of games, yes, the results haven't been going on well, and I understand. But the one thing that Ndiraya and Scotland FC have in abundance is quality. In players.
Quality.
The last game, he made 6 changes.
That's why I didn't want to.
And still won.
That's why I didn't want to dispute your assertion. In as much as I say it's too early, but that's what I was comparing with MWOS to say one thing that MWOS are going to suffer from is the depth. I spoke of the depth that they have.
But
right?
you know that MWOS have.
That would affect them.
But they're a team.
They are a team, and these guys, depth. Yes, you cannot dispute that. He is very right in terms of depth, but depth speaks to the marathon aspect of the league, which is always the case. But however, you may be left far behind. Of course, they've come up, but the problem is, there is just too much to deal with at Scotland. The egos and everything, and then molding them into a team. When you look at MWOS, you are seeing a proper team. These guys, they play for each other. They have gelled earlier, or they've done it a bit early as compared to what their counterparts have done. But I think Scotland are number 2 now.
Let's look at
before we hear your point. Before you hear your point, let's just hear from the previous match what the coaches had to say in the match. Let's first hear from Ndiraya, his thoughts on the game.
First time in 10 games that we have achieved this feat. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think what we're really looking for is consistency. Unfortunately, we were consistent in getting draws the last time around. Now we have won 2 games. Hopefully we can get more wins so that the consistency that I'm talking about will come to fruition. Yeah, that is timing. That is timing for you. It may not give you the much needed work. terms of pressing and helping the team to defend, but he is there at the right moment. He's a proven goal scorer, so we knew that he would come to party. But not just time. I'm really amazed by capability. I don't think that he's 35 years old. I mean, the way he's driving the team is just unbelievable. So yeah, I'm happy for Kama. He's really leading the way. He's showing the youngsters which he can do. So hopefully our players will emulate what Kama is doing for us. It's been like this since the start of the season. The energy is just something else. So yeah, he didn't have a good pre-season, but now he's coming up and he's really showing that he's a good leader on and off the pitch, but most importantly on the pitch. MaBlanyo is very key for us.
In terms of the narrative surrounding this game, there was a lot of anticipation given Scotland your ambitions to win the title. Dynamos are struggling so badly. I guess you can say that you managed to handle everything in terms of the atmosphere, the narrative around the game. But I want to get your thoughts heading into it. Was it more important to just get the result, not worrying about the performance so much? Because I would say, besides the goal you scored, maybe you weren't as sharp going forward.
Yeah, I think our president was very clear from because he then lowered the expectation and our target is to at least finish 5th. That is the target that he has put forward. But I think if you ask any coach in the league, you go in there to compete and win the title. That's what you want to do. But it's not easy to win the title. It's not easy. I witnessed it with Simba Bhora. It's very, very difficult, especially this year. I think there's so much competition. So we don't want to go ahead of ourselves. We started a bit slow, but now we are picking up. Well, I've said it's going to be a very competitive season this season. So many teams are very strong and very good, and you have got to take it step by step. This game generated a lot of interest, like you said, a lot of it. But
I thought we had a very good first 5 minutes, then miscommunication and poor decision making in the early stages of the game, and we lost it. And maybe a loss for words. Obviously, the fact that I have an obligation to talk to the press, I have to be here. I think when I made a loss for words was it's unfortunate we lost this game.
I can understand also that the loss for words is always they really play the heart out. What was your message before the game to the boys? Because I know youngsters, even like people, but came out and played like they were experienced players. I mean, they really showed, especially in that first half. What was your message before the game?
No, I told the boys that they are a good side. You can match any team. The fact that you are getting the 1 million match shows that you have not been humiliated in any match. It's unfortunate when we concede, we fail to get the goal. That matters. And I think we saw the moment when we had control of the game. And they took their shot from outside 18 area. And very good shots they took. But in terms of exchanges, even towards the end, we were even Stevens.
Maybe coach was scoring this year. Huge problems in
Pardon?
What's scoring issue with the players? So that they see the ball that will not get so the players. What do you need to do?
You can see the major disadvantage we had today, not to say that Ironman has been scoring. It forced us again to juggle around and then a false center striker, someone with weight, who could match probably the Simba Bhora defenders. I thought both sets of strikers in open play did not get very clear chances. Simba got their chances when they scored. They were getting more space behind our defense because we were now looking for an equalizer. But at the end of the day, a very evenly matched contest ending in Simba's favor. due to a howler in terms of defending.
Coach, obviously Dynamos is a big institution and there's a lot of expectation. What would you say to the fans right now?
You see, the Dynamos fans expect nothing less, nothing more. They have not overreacted as yet, but it's not a good, I think, show in terms of results from the team. But I think a little bit of patience from them to support these boys who have got great potential to do better than they've done now. Obviously, there will be some negative opinion, there will be some positives. But I think the most important thing is for us to remain united so that we come out of this right together as a team.
Coach, in terms of the goal scoring situation, as you've talked about, you can't win games without scoring, and now you find yourselves firm in the relegation zone. Is there any kind of genuine concern that you could find yourselves fighting relegation the entire season?
Well, probably.
All right. So, yeah. Ndiraya and Ndiraya is saying that Kama Billiard was absolutely fantastic, pushing the players during the game and out of the game, proper leader. And we were talking about the depth that this team has and the opportunities that it has to actually win the league. And you were about to say something.
Yes, you were mentioning that MWOS have started well, but I'm saying this is a team of unit, all right. But I don't think they have the Premier League pedigree and lasting, muscle and depth. Wait, and depth to go on and win it, unless they address it. Let's look at, because one thing that they've thrived on is the consistency of their first 11. If you look at most matches, they hardly make changes for their starting 11.
Yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which would affect them in the run-up, all right, of the season. Because the season that we're having is a very indifferent one. You've got a Simba Bhora side, all right, that is also trying to gel with good depth, experienced players that have been there in the league, all right, who know Bhora. Then you've got Scotland, who can afford to make 6 changes to a side and still win games. All right? And for the long term, these two teams will be fresher than this one. Yes, this one might have momentum. But when push comes to shove, when the heat is in the kitchen, I see most players getting out of the kitchen.
Okay.
Unless something is addressed. It's early days. But this is what I'm viewing, looking at their second half display.
There's also a possibility.
When changes are made, this team becomes weaker. Do you know when you make changes?
Yeah, but why would he make any changes?
No, when you make changes in the second half
of the season.
No?
During play.
And you weaken your side. If that chicken inside was we had a bit of luck, all right? They missed about 2 chances, I think, that they could have scored. And then the penalty shout, which was not a penalty, really good refereeing. But on any other day, a hometown decision could have prevailed. You get what I'm saying?
But there's nothing to say that after the equalizer, there's nothing to say that MWOS would not have scored a second
goal.
No, with the changes that they couldn't. It's the same thing.
If anything,
it's
if you ask me, if anything,
for me they looked weaker.
I think Chicken in are weak this season.
I'm saying MWOS. For me, the second half.
But wait, if you ask they looked weaker, but we're still stronger than Chicken In at the time.
Chicken In, we have a decent goalkeeper to thank for some instances that they could probably have gone further down.
Yeah. Which one? The first half. It was in the first half, not in the second half.
Yeah, but
in the second half, they never.
Games can be won.
That's what I'm saying. In the second half, they never threatened. But you understand my analysis, guys. My analysis, I'm saying, yes, they won the game. Perfect. I even asked Lloyd Mtasa the question to say it was an indifferent. He actually acknowledged, but he was thankful that he saw something that the boys fought for each other. I think
that's a team.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. That no, we got to the to the finishing line, fortunately. When somebody uses the word fortunately, it means they fought. But this is not... You know how Scotland did when they won the midweek game? Where Peter Mdor got injured and wanted to come back and play the game.
Which was crazy anyway.
Yeah, which was crazy. And you look at a team which if they score one against any other team, they can shut shop.
Which team is that?
Scotland. Scotland, if they score one, it's a team you'll be comfortable with defending.
It will be interesting to watch what will happen when they play each other. But when the coach clearly says he's seeing players playing for each other, it tells you that the objectives have been met. Part of it, I mean, you're ticking boxes because that is the proper definition of what a team is. And I've seen greater names failing to win league titles, and teams with lesser talent winning. Case in point, Leicester City. Yes, they had an unbelievable N'Golo Kante in there, but they were a team. They played for each other. They
so
won.
You reckon this is our fluke Leicester?
No.
It's a possibility. You know what?
Right. And look at it this way: Caps United not doing well. Highlanders not doing well. FC Platinum drawing.
No. They're doing fairly well.
They're on 2 wins. Okay, they're doing brilliant. Okay, fine. Just making him happy. FC Platinum is drawing for fun. Simba Bhora, Ngezi Platinum. What's stopping MWOS from winning the league? Who is stopping MWOS from?
You know what you said. You know what you said from your statements. You said, let's look at the log table.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
3 points.
Thank you. And you already
could be 6. Could be 6.
No, it's 3.
6, 9, 12.
What you have to understand, gentlemen, is we are not saying.
In as much as those ones are blowing hot and cold.
I am not saying MWOS are winning the league. No, I never said that.
Yeah, because Scotland are.
There is a possibility. There's a possibility of them doing that based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
And I'm usually scared more of teams because I can tell you I've seen the sides that have won premierships. They are teams.
All right.
These are family.
Yes, there's a family. Just like Scotland, we're going to win the league.
So
Manica Diamonds.
I think if you continue in that regard, you're going to visit someone very soon.
I could be head coach, Let's talk about Manica Diamond. They're doing the FC Platinum thing, 4 consecutive draws.
Manica, for me, have been...
It's not the same.
They're the underachievers of this season. But I think the season is not yet over. I think it's just tracking 1 or 2 things. Like I say, the second half of the season for me will be the most exciting. Why? Because this will show us. This is when boys will be separated from men.
Can I ask you something? How will you feel if you're a Manica Diamonds coach now, hearing that Lloyd Chitembu is no longer sitting on the bench? He's like not coaching.
Just take.
That's what I'm saying. They are the underachievers.
Yeah, you're the underachieving coach. I want to know how do you feel? How are you feeling now?
Yeah, but I once coached the Warriors. I once coached the Warriors. FC Platinum.
Mapeza is safe. He's safe. He just needs to know how to win at home. I think that's where the challenge.
How to win.
How to win it, to complete, finish the teams at home. I think that's where the problem is. They're not scoring at home. And I think that's a challenge for him. He needs to address it. I spoke to him about it, pre-match and post-match, and he did highlight the fact that he needs to start winning at home somehow. And I think the moment they start doing that, they are going back to the top floor.
Yeah, they are not that far from.
Yeah, they're not
from number 1 though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They are there.
For MWOS,
Talk about Highlanders.
Where? Where are they going?
They're winning the league.
No, not inside, but
on top.
Yeah.
I know you're trying to gain favors.
From who?
From
Highlanders is as broke
let me
Dynamos.
Let me tell you. We're not talking about the institution. We are frequenting Blawai. So somebody's looking for kickbacks. When we go to Blau,
From who?
they say,
You hang with me all the time.
Exactly, and I know that's why I'm saying.
He's also benefiting
Which
from
executive
your...
review has even come?
Who said
Yeah,
anything
well,
about executive?
he's also
Who said-
benefiting from your escapade. So continue.
No,
it's
Blau
okay.
is home.
Yeah, Blau is
he's
home.
a Pumula boy.
I'm a Pumula boy.
So he's home, but I know they say, hey, Vava Wena, come get one. Because they're saying right things about the boss. Anyway, proceed. No, they're playing well.
They're
but
playing
in terms
well.
of going on top.
How are they?
Come on, this is a side we have to acknowledge that Kevin Kayundi is doing a great job.
He's a great coach. He's a good coach.
Wait, because of the preseason that they've had, and for him to be where he is today, with the caliber of players that he's got, imagine Zingagezi zaphuma lapha emakumeni, BF, Zingagi. Because it's the 12th man for them. That is a poor Highlander side. I think that is the weakest Highlander side I've ever watched. But it's cooking the pots.
Cooking the weakest side that I've watched.
It's the weakest Highlander side I've watched.
I've never seen a weak Dynamos.
Is this one now, of course?
In fact, it shouldn't be called Dynamos. It has to be a legal process.
No,
even the fans know that this is the weakest Dynamos
that you have.
It's not Dynamos. It's a culmination of players that came to Dynamos.
It's not. Oh, okay. Even the owner is not anyway moving.
And what you see, I know.
No, it's not. That's not it. Last week, you were not there, but he did congratulate us on winning the league.
I didn't see him make a guard of honor.
Yeah, please, can you have a guard of honor by yourself?
You see,
where's Mungu? We should have Mungu here. You know, give us a guard of honor.
A guard of honor is some turn of some sort. I can't possibly bend. I acknowledged. I mean, you see, the dangers of over-celebrating is you are going to dwell in past glories.
No, guys.
You see, the problem with that is that when they were celebrating, they continued this. You over-celebrated. You rubbed it in our face for 11 years.
But we were winning.
Innocent. Why not over-celebrate when you've wrapped up the league when there's still time?
There was still time.
And we've begun our preseason early in this regard.
Yes, now
and
we're
for us now to say, okay, who would remain when we bolster our squad?
The squad.
You know?
Yeah.
So imagine that. So this is, I mean, come on, let the lads go and over-celebrate.
You'll never walk alone, and you'll never walk alone with Strictly Football. Join us again next week where we're going to be talking of all things to do with local football, except for the last part when we were talking about Liverpool. Yeah. So, have fun. Kepsi win up weekend.
I have no idea.
And I win. I don't got to stress, guys. Rentals. I finished. Hakuna.
Yeah, but new coach points can lead to. Because remember, you're not talking of a poor side. It's a side that just.
But I'll tell them this.